Because when we're doing that, then we have the power to shift the energy of the room. Because when we're feeling better and our vibration is higher, then we are less likely to get hangry, to get snappy with people because we're too tired, because we're not going to be too tired in the first place. I have a theory around why some of us feel so sensitive. We may identify as empaths or healers or lightworkers or indigos. And I feel like the reason is because we're not here to absorb that energy. We're here to alchemize it. And I was talking to a friend about this earlier, and how a lot of us come into these situations. I know I went to a situation recently. It's one that I normally wouldn't go in because the frequency is low. And yet I really needed to take this opportunity to go be in this place and do this thing. And I decided, instead of letting that atmosphere bring me down, that I was going to raise it up, because that is how frequency works. All of us are like little radio transmitters out into the world, sending signals, and those signals go out based on what we're saying to ourselves, what we're feeling, what we're thinking. And that is why it's so important, especially for those of us on this path, those of us who are awake to it and know that we're here to raise the consciousness of this planet. That's who I'm talking to right now. So if that's not you, then this isn't your video. But thanks for stopping by. We have the power. We have the ability to shift the frequency of any room we are in. I didn't say it was easy. I didn't say we could snap our fingers and it would happen. I didn't say that we don't have to prime our vessel in order to be able to do this. So if I didn't say those things, you can probably guess that the opposite of all of that is true. I had this analogy come through of Pac-Man, and like all of the little pellets or whatever those things are, like just imagine that you're Pac-Man and all of those little pellets are little pockets of bad energy, and we can consume them without absorbing them. Before we learn about this magic, and I'm calling it magic, power, before we learn that we have the power to create our reality, that we have this power to raise our frequency, and that anybody who comes into our vicinity either has to rise to meet us, go away, or we lower ourselves to match them. There are 3 possible outcomes in that situation. So, before we learn this, we're just Pac-Manning around, taking on everyone else's stuff and not releasing it. We're just carrying it around until we eventually explode, or we have some sort of health issue or whatever, because we all know that that stored emotion, it doesn't just go away on its own. It takes some sort of action to release it, whatever that may be. And so a lot of us have learned to have daily practices that enable us to process and transmute this energy. And that's what we're here to do. And that's what we have the power to do. And how we do that is by taking care of our bodies. Basically, we take care of ourselves. We pour into ourselves. And we do this in multiple ways. It's a mind, body, spirit sort of balance. We can do this through working out, somatic practices, yoga, energy healing. I've recently been getting spinal flow sessions sessions from my really good friend, Catherine Carr. And I'm going to have her on the podcast soon. So you'll meet Catherine. Those types of things can help us on a physical level to like physically move the energy through. Walk and talk session. I do offer walk and talk sessions where we can get on Voxer and chat about whatever's coming up for you and move that energy through. So that's one way. Meditation, prayer, journaling. These are other ways. And then the third way is fuel, our nutrition. What are we putting in our bodies? What are we consuming? And that consumption isn't just what we're putting in our bodies. What are we reading? What are we listening to? What are we watching? Because we're consuming all day, every day. And what's really cool is I am connected to several incredible women who know this. They understand this, and they are very selective about what they consume on every single level that I just mentioned. And they are active in doing all the things. They know what their body responds well to, and they know which things to avoid. And a lot of them are dairy and gluten-free. This isn't a judgment or any sort of PSA, although I have no qualms about expressing how dietary changes have helped me. And yet I'm also realizing that all of us are different, and nobody's right and nobody's wrong here. So I just want to make that clear. It's about doing what works for your body. And I think by now all of us know that soda and potato chips ain't it. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about whole foods. I will also say living foods as much as possible. Plants. I'm always going to be a big proponent on eating as many plants as you possibly can, because plants contain life force energy. And when we consume it, we're consuming life force energy. And I just see like the consumption of meat as dead flesh and, it's death. But that's my own personal opinion. And like I said, there are plenty of people out there that still require meat in order to feel good. And that's exactly what they should be doing if that's how they feel. And you got to find out what works for you. Because the thing is, in order for us to show up and do what we came here to do, in order for us to conquer the game, we have to take care of our vessels on every single level. Because when we're doing that, then we have the power to shift the energy of the room. Because when we're feeling better and our vibration is higher, then we are less likely to get hangry, to get snappy with people because we're too tired, because we're not going to be too tired in the first place. Because we have a routine. We have a bedtime. We know what time we need to go to sleep to wake up at a time that's going to give us sufficient time throughout the day to work on everything that we need to work on. Like, we know this about ourselves, and we take care of ourselves, and we make wise choices that our future self thanks us for consistently, because we know we have an important mission on this planet, and that's what we're here to do. And we can't give it all away for a night of binging. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Who's to say? I'm not here to judge. I'm going to tell you, at the time of recording this, I gave up alcohol for Lent, and it's been 30 days now. And this isn't the first time I've had a dry month. I've experimented with this a few times. And while I'm not a huge drinker, I've never considered myself to be a huge drinker. I started to notice when I was drinking, when I do drink, I feel what it does to my body. I feel what it does to my energy, and I feel what it does to me the day after. And I can be here and have a hard seltzer or a margarita or whatever the case may be, and then suddenly I'm feeling sluggish and I don't want to do anything, and everything I had planned for the evening I no longer want to do. And as I became more consciously aware of it, I started asking myself, wait a second, is this worth it? Is the amount of fun I'm having worth it? And in some cases, the answer may be yes, like on vacation. But if I've got some really important stuff to do tomorrow, I have client meetings, I have deliverables, I have things expected of me, that's definitely not a good time, and I can't take that chance. So I have learned to be very discerning with those types of decisions. And I gave up alcohol for Lent. I was like, let me just do that. Let me just do 40 days and see how that feels. I don't miss it. I really, really don't. And I'm saying that totally honestly. But I'm also not going to say, I really don't miss it and I'm never going to have a glass of champagne again. I don't know if that's true. I don't know how I'm going to feel. The point is, I am aware enough to know that it's not something I'm going to be doing all of the time, because I know that I can't show up the way I need to show up if I do. I made a video recently where I talked about how I became consistent. I'm going to link that right up here for you, because I started shifting my habits by starting with one habit at a time, and then I just began to layer them. And I gave myself a 30-day commitment. I'm doing it for 30 days. And after I hit that 30 days, I was able to continue on. And my point in sharing all of this with you is just as a reminder that, one, you have the power, you can do this. And it's so important now more than ever that we use that superpower, because we are living in a world that is constantly bombarded by negativity, lack messaging, everywhere we go. When all of us in our little corners of the world can put more love out there, we can go into public places and we can bring the peace, that shifts the consciousness, not just of that room, but that entire space and the world, and all of our energy just builds and builds and builds upon each other's. So we're all out here doing it in our separate spaces, and it's making an impact, even if you can't see it right away. So if you feel hopeless in times like these, in times of violence and war and poverty and you name it, this is what you can do. When you're looking around like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? This is what you can do. And how you have the power to do it is by taking care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. You have to do the work. There's no other way around it. And that means taking care of yourself on every single level. If you need to get a coach, get a coach. Get in a community of people who can support you. If you need to go to therapy, find a therapist. Get into some group programs. Find out what books are out there that can help you in this season of life. Start taking care of your body. That means eating for your body type, eating more wholesome, whole foods. Start being very consciously aware of what you're watching and listening to. Turn off that news. Turn it off. Stop going down conspiracy theory rabbit holes. I mean, I've done it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good, because remember, we have to be the ones. We have to be the ones to hold the center. We have to be the ones to remain at peace while everyone else is, well, not aware of what's going on and totally feeding the matrix and giving them what they want. So we have to do it differently, and this is how you do it. If you have any questions about this, please drop them down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you there. Let me know what you're going through. Let me know how this resonated for you. Let me know if there's any way that I can serve you right now during this time. And just know that you're doing a great job, and we have each other, and you're not alone, and I'm over here doing it with you. And there are thousands of us, thousands upon thousands, millions of us who are doing this. And we can do this, and we have each other, and you're not alone. And if you are new here and all of this is your vibe and you want to stick around and connect with me, then I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified every time I drop a message in. I try to post regularly whatever spirit guides me to say and share. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your beautiful energy with me today. And thank you for doing this very important work.